But I like to say the two best days in any business owner's life is the day you open your business, the day you sell your business. I believe it's like 95, it's definitely over 90% of Main Street businesses actually never sell. If you're not thinking about your business as an investment that you're going to sell for a multiple someday, you need to start thinking about that today. It's a difficult, emotional thing, but when it's done right, it can be quite magical, like you said.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Anchoring Hope, where we are interviewing people that are really making a difference with the lives they are living for the Lord Jesus Christ. Today we have Brandon Clifford. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Hi, David. Thank you for having me here today.
It's a pleasure to have you for sure. Brandon, for the audience, can you tell me where do you live and what do you do for a living?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm located in southern New Hampshire. I won't name the town because it's a tiny little place that no one's ever heard of, but about an hour north of Boston, about 30 minutes from the seacoast. This part of New Hampshire is gorgeous because we can get up to the mountains in an hour, or less. We can get down to the city of Boston in an hour, or we can go to the beach in a half hour, right? So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's complicated.
And that's the real Atlantic Ocean, right?
Yes. Yeah, the Atlantic. I lived here most of my life, grew up in northern Massachusetts. And then moved over to New Hampshire to live free or die about 12 years ago.
So, Brandon, for your business, what exactly is it that you guys do?
Sure, yeah. So I'm in franchising. I run a franchise professionals network called Business Alliance Inc. It's a 30-year-old company. I'm the CEO. We basically our network revolves around franchise sales, so helping to grow franchise systems. And so we have three different types of memberships. We have brokers. So brokers are individuals who are very similar to like a real estate agent, but instead of helping people find houses, they help them find franchise businesses. All right. And so we have a training program. We and I have a team of people that are recruiting brokers and training them and coaching them and supporting them. And then I have franchise brands. So those are organizations that are using the franchise model to scale their company, and so lots of different industries, everything from, senior care to pet care to food service, commercial cleaning, residential cleaning, everything in between, automotive. There's really a franchise for every, I know franchising is big up in Canada too, so there's a franchise for everything these days. And then we have suppliers. So those are like businesses that support the franchise sales process. So that could be attorneys, lenders, financial planners, CPAs, CRM platforms, lead generators, anything that helps, organizations, franchisors, or brokers facilitate the franchise sales transaction. And so, it's like I said, a 30-year-old company. I've been the CEO now for a couple of years. I actually started as a broker, and then worked my way through it. And eventually now I'm the majority owner of the company and I'm running it here. And what I love about franchising is it's an altruistic business model at its core, right? Like if you strip away the brand, you strip away the industries or whatever, it's really people helping people in business, and so you have a good idea, you have a good business model, and you think about, okay, how can I scale this and share it with the world? And so for some people, they think, okay, well, I want to go start opening more stores, and that takes capital and time and and whatnot. Maybe everyone doesn't have access to the capital it takes to open those stores. So another way to do that is with franchising. Say, I'm going to bring on franchisees, recruit essentially, corporate store owners instead of corporate store managers, and give a piece of the business to to those individuals in exchange for support and whatnot. And so it's proven to be a business model that works. It works for the brand that wants to scale to different markets, but maybe doesn't have the financial or bandwidth to do so. And it works for the entrepreneur, the individual who wants to be a business owner, but maybe they don't have a great idea, or they don't want to come up with a great idea. They don't want to come up with the branding, the distribution methods, all that kind of stuff. You can plug right into a franchise system and then just execute. So I've been in this space for about 15 years.
As an entrepreneur, I can tell you it's a wonderful business model, Brandon. My last job before I jumped into business was I was responsible for all the software systems for a company called M&M Meat Shops in Canada. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking 2005, right? That was my last year. I started the business in May 2005, and I went full time into business in August 2005, September 2005. So that was my last year. And I remember that that company had 500 stores across Canada. They ran $500 million in sales, and the head office had 70 people.
Yeah, because it was all franchise, right?
Yeah, a franchise model, and it was beautiful because Matt Boysen, the owner, he became very well because he figured out a way to deliver his business model to many people. Like some franchisees had 5-6 stores themselves, and they became very wealthy themselves because of the processes and the systems, right?
It is, and it's and it's like you're kind of sharing a piece of yourself, because a business is a living, breathing organ. It's made up of people, right? So it isn't an organism in many ways, right? So it's a difficult emotional thing. But when it's done right, it can be quite magical, like you said. I mean, like 500 locations, that's, beyond most people's dreams, to be able to share. Think about how many jobs that are created, how many customers are impacted, economic output in each of those cities, things like that. And it all starts, from a single corporate location, and then I think it's important for people to understand that those franchisees, those local businesses, that Chick-fil-A owner, that Wendy's owner, there's more well-known franchises that are out there, Taco Bell, they're still a small business owner, right? Like you said, they might own 3 or 5 locations, but very rarely, there are some, different cases where it's a big private equity firm that might own 500 locations, but typically it's one person, mom and pop, who have a family. It's a family-owned small business in your local community, just like any other Main Street business.
And from the entrepreneurial point of view, it reduces a lot the risk of running your own enterprise, right? Like for me, when I started my software company, I had no idea what I was doing. And I failed, and I lost money until I finally broke even, until I finally realized what I was doing wrong, until going to many masterminds and looking for the right answers. When you buy into a successful franchise business, because there's a lot of scams out there too, right? But successful franchise business, you have the business model. And if you follow that to the teeth, you also don't have to worry about the supply chain because everything is taken care of you. You don't have to worry about the branding and marketing. When I was at the head office, a big part of my time was supporting branding and marketing. And so they will actually do all the marketing for all the stores. They will come up with all the sales for the week. They will like everything, right? Like talk about mass purchasing. So they will lower the price on the cost, creating a better margin for everybody by being able to buy in bulk, right?
Yeah, and it's not just the operations, it's actually also the exit strategy, right? A lot of people don't think about that. But I like to say the 2 best days in any business owner's life is the day you open your business, the day you sell your business, right? And when it comes to a franchise, if you have neighbors, right, you have neighboring franchisees, like say you own a location of whatever it might be in Ontario, and there's someone else down the street from you that also owns the same franchise, and you're ready to retire. There's a potential buyer right down the street from you, right? They already know the system, they know the value, they know how to pay a multiple on earnings, all that kind of, and it's like clockwork, and so a lot of people don't realize that it's the full life cycle. They're going to help you, train you, get you open, help you grow your business, scale your business, and then sell your business someday too. So you get that full, because a lot of people don't realize, I think it's something, and David, I don't want to misquote, but I believe it's like 95, it's definitely over 90% of Main Street businesses actually never sell. Like they don't sell. And so if you're not in business to sell it someday for a multiple of your earnings, like you just have a job, and it's like, and that's okay,
right? You're self-employed.
but you just, it's a job is what it is. And it's like, it's a risky job. You have a lot of liability, you have employee, you know what I mean? So it's like, if you're not thinking about your business as an investment that you're going to sell for a multiple someday, you need to start thinking about that today. If you're a business owner, you're listening to this right now, and come up with a plan. And now you can say, okay, my exit strategy is 5 years from now, I want to sell for a 5 times multiple. And then 5 years comes along and you're loving business and you're growing and you're happy. You can push it out. You can change. There's no reason. You don't have to hold your, but you do need to always have that end goal in mind. Otherwise, where are you going, right? You're just waffling in the wind.
And Brandon, and even if the sale never happens, if you have that mentality, that's something that I had to change about 5 years ago for myself. We fall, we are human beings and we have emotions. And especially when things are going okay, you tend to fall in love with your business. Why? This is hard because it costs you a lot. And when you finally get it stabilized and finally you're making some profits, you're like, I'm in love with my business.